Hey everyone, Charlie here, and welcome back to One Cuppa Japan. Long time no see. I want to give a quick disclaimer here. Sometime between, the last time I filmed one of these, which I guess was a month and some change ago, and now my selfie stick has been lost to the ether. So for today at least, I'm going to be doing this old-fashioned way, I guess, without a selfie stick and just my hand and our cuppa here. For those of you who are new to the channel, One Cuppa Japan is a show where we have a conversation over something good that soothes you. Today we are drinking Georgia Japan Craftsman coffee. This is nothing too exciting, just a bottle of coffee you can get at any convenience store or supermarket around the country. Today we are going up, butterfly flying around. Agahai, I believe it's called. Starting to know what the names of different bugs and fish and stuff like that are in Japanese a lot better because of Animal Crossing. So anyway, one thing to point out, this is an interesting bug. No idea what this is. Look at that coloration. Beautiful little creature. This clearly is not one of those bugs that I have seen in Animal Crossing, otherwise I would have known. As I said this morning, we are going up a small local mountain. Probably just gonna go as far as the shrine, I suppose, this morning, because probably this video will be a little bit shorter than usual. But anyhow, I want to talk about a couple things today. Before we do, I want to point out one thing, that if you're interested in sort of saving money in Japan, as much as possible, buy things like this at the supermarket, because you can get a bottle of coffee like this for like 98 yen if you go to the supermarket. But when I just bought it at the convenience store, it was 140 yen, which is significant difference, obviously. So FYI. There's all sorts of things buzzing around. I want to talk about two things today. Two main topics. So the first is a couple months ago. Just before we had our local shutdown, so to speak. Oh cool, there's a nice size snail hiding out in here. Before we had our localized lockdown because of the coronavirus, we had anyway, I started working with somebody new. I don't want to give out too many details, but what are you, I wonder? And, but to be honest, at first we sort of rubbed each other the wrong way. As time went on, we developed a working relationship and all the thing, and everything's okay now, but one of the things that I think rubbed me the wrong way is that she's very American, right? Which is strange for me to say. This person is not American. They spent some time in the States, and so their personality and their sort of business style, their working style, was very much shaped by their time in the States. And so when they talk to basically anybody, they come across as being extremely forward and pushy and aggressive and all that kind of thing. Now it's worth noting, of course, that this person is female. And so, of course, right, you hear it all the time, how if it was a man who was exhibiting those sort of character traits, that they'd be seen as sort of like a go-getter and that kind of thing. And certainly not going to discount that, but that's sort of outside of the point of this conversation. And so, well, anyway, I was like, something about this rubs me the wrong way, and so I didn't really like it at first. And then I realized it's just because I haven't really encountered that sort of personality almost since I've moved here, particularly in my professional life. To a lesser extent, I guess I have in my personal life, but not with anybody who I regularly hang out with or see, that kind of thing. The moss that's grown up over this footpath here is quite beautiful. We're having one day out of the last 2 weeks where the sun is actually shining, because we're in the middle of the rainy season. Well, actually, we're towards the end of it. It's supposed to end next week. I'll tell you what, though, not having the walking stick is like killing my ability to ward off the spider webs here. Or whatever, we'll just deal with it. And anyway, that's the intro to this. And what's happening now is that, right, of course, you always hear this this adage about like, okay, well, the nail that sticks out gets hammered down. And this poor person, right, who, as I said, I've developed a good relationship with them, a good working relationship, and this person is like very clearly trying to do their best. Very, very clearly trying to do their best and trying to make the working environment better for both the employees and our customers. And pretty much from the moment like she stepped foot in the office, she's like, okay, we're gonna like, let's interview the staff, let's find out what things they think could be done better. Oh my god, this is killing me. Let's find out what things they think can be done better, and let's keep an eye on them to see, okay, what things do I think they can be doing better, that kind of thing. And up until that point, it was pretty much like a laissez-faire kind of work system where if the work results are good, then whatever, who gives a shit kind of thing. But this person has a different philosophy and thought, okay, well, right from the get-go, I want to make sure that I'm doing my job here and making things as good as they can be. It's beautiful, right? It says Haksan Jinja, White Mountain. Excuse me, I'm just blowing a mosquito off of me. This is White Mountain Shrine. You'll see when we get up here, there's a very little shrine, but look at the walkway up there. Isn't this magical? And, you know, whatever. It is what it is. The work style is its work style, and it has its merits for sure. It has its demerits for sure. Oh, cool. Hello. Oh, man, we're seeing some gorgeous things today, aren't we? Some sort of dragonfly. Beautiful sort of like fluorescent blue tail that sort of cascades when it hits the sun there. Beautiful. And then there's something loud and buzz going up above our heads here, but he's just chilling out this tombo. And he's chasing some little bug he wants to eat, maybe. Anyway, let's carry on. I could stay here and watch it forever, but that's not why you guys are here, I guess. What's happening now is that sort of this go-getter, in-your-face sort of attitude, approach to working is sort of coming back to bite this poor person in the ass. And I think what's happening to her is sort of indicative of the problems and the general like work problems that people have here in Japan. Here's this tiny little shrine, Haksan Jinja, where, for example, if we were in the States, there'd be no problem at all, right? Like, well, I don't know, again, she's female, but you know, but probably she'd be more likely to be rewarded for that sort of work style. And I guess part of the trouble is, right, she's not respecting the kind of the pecking order, right? There's this idea of hierarchy here where, like, you know, like for example, in like an English school, there's a teacher, which is on the bottom. Then above that is like the manager. And then above that, of course, is like the owners or like the headquarters of the school system or whatever the case may be. And if you don't respect the working order, then people kind of think like you're kind of cutting them out of the cycle and you're trying to like usurp them or whatever the case may be. And so there's some of that's happening too. But some of the things that are being done and said to this person because they're legitimately trying to make a positive difference and have a positive influence on the school. Hello, mosquito. Thank you for coming in my ear. Are just terrible. Excuse me for clearing my throat here, but it can't be helped. Are really just terrible. And as I say, I think it speaks to like one of the greater problems here is that I've had a chance recently to interview with a potential new employer, and this person, Japanese, a little bit older, in his 50s, that kind of thing. But he made the point too, is like, I'm trying not to hire from this. I have, majority Japanese staff, that kind of thing, as you'd expect, particularly in a place like Fukui. But he said, one of the things I noticed is that nobody wants to go out of their way to really kind of like, to really make a change and sort of make something great. Like, people are just happy if there's a profit and that kind of thing. There's another one of, well, maybe you can't see him, but there's another one of those dragonflies, and this time this one has like an emerald green tail. Get away from me, mosquitoes. I'm not your breakfast. Do not sup upon me. Anyway, let's continue. And so, nobody, it's fine, like, we do okay and everything like that, but one of the things he's trying to do now is he's trying to hire this kind of foreign staff, because of this attitude that he's looking for, that's like, okay, well, but I have an idea and somebody directly above me isn't listening to me, then he wants people who have that kind of spirit to kind of go around and be like, look, I'm sorry, I had a good idea, you weren't listening, and I thought this was good for the company. Much more open door policy. And so it's something you hear, right, is that people, just because of this sort of this system, which almost ate shit there, because of this system, which is almost, well, I did my thesis on this in the university, but basically the idea that while the feudal system dissolved, as far as like there are no more daimyo and that kind of thing, and there's no more shogun, basically the way people approach their jobs is it's very much like this, right? You live and die by the company kind of thing, and the company was basically like your lord in a way, right? And that's not to, what is this? That's not to sort of oversimplify the problem, which I suppose it is to an extent, but there's definitely some parallels between that old sort of system of vassalage and to how people approach work and to how they're treated at work and that kind of thing, and myself included, at least in as far as treatment goes. So, it's just something that I think has to change, and really will have to change, and probably will change just as a matter of survival, especially with the declining birth rates and all that kind of thing, and probably the significant immigration that will eventually be a matter of necessity, which has already become a matter of necessity. So anyway, it just sucks to see it. Sucks to see it, Okay. All right. If we go off here to the right about 15 minutes or so, there's like an observation deck where you can see like the sunrise in the morning. It's really, really incredible over the mountains. We're too late for that, unfortunately, but there's a large buzz someplace here. These mosquitoes are vicious today. The other thing I wanted to talk about is, in the past I've been, oh yeah, that is one of those wasps, one of those killer hornets that made the news in the States because it's finally made its way over there, which is not too surprising given the state of climate and travel and all that kind of jazz. But yeah, look at the size of that guy. I don't know if you can see him, but give me the willies, as they said 60 years ago. But I've been really critical about the coronavirus response in many places, particularly in the States, because what's happening in the States is an exercise in stupidity. Be Cristo. Please do not gif whatever face I just made. It's an interesting log covered with different sorts of, well, just one kind, it looks like, of mushroom. You can hear the cicada in the background. This is a different species, of course. Maybe the most famous species is like the I think they're actually just called mean cicada, or mean semi, because they go mean, 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 that kind of thing. But they aren't crying yet. This is a different species that's crying in the background here. But anyhow, what you're seeing in the States is that people value this idea of freedom more than they value the idea of protecting people's lives, right? And it's no, I think it's a natural extension of the whole Second Amendment debate and all that kind of thing. But anyway, it's really dumb, and I've made myself clear on that, I think. And also the other thing that's happening, right, is that for the sake of the economy, right, people, governments, federal government, and what I believe to be some misguided governors and that kind of thing are forcing their local economies to be restarted. And you can understand why, right? Like, there are a lot of people who need money, and as much as I don't like capitalism, and I'm aware of all the problems of capitalism, it's not like it's going to go away tomorrow, right? So we have to feed the machine, so to speak. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot more needless suffering, I suppose. Cute little side trail over there. I wish I was more geared up today, because I could go, but I'm wearing shorts, which is stupid, because that's why I'm getting eaten alive by these mosquitoes. But anyway, you can understand why people would want to restart the economy, but it's just, it's at what expense, right? And if you look at the numbers in the States, it's just like, how many people are going to die needlessly because some talking head said that the thing we need to do now is to get back to work. And excuse me for doing this, but I'm getting terribly itchy from being eaten alive here. We need to get back to work now. We need to get back to school now. If you don't have in school lessons, like in the classroom lessons, then we're going to kick international students out of the country. Happy to say that particular mandate has been rescinded. But it's just like, what are people doing? Like, anyway, there's a lot more educated people that are talking about that than me. But all of this to say that Japan is not immune to that sort of idiocy. There is oh God, what is it called? I think there's a campaign now that's called a Go-To campaign. And basically the idea is that you reduce prices, you subsidize travel costs for people in country to sort of travel around and just sort of kickstart some of these economies, local economies that are. What are you? Kind of rotting fungus, it would appear. Ooh, and that looks like feces? Both would appear to have been expelled by something. But anyway. And as I was saying, the idea is to get people to travel to all these different places and to pump, money back into hotels and restaurants and tourist locations and all that kind of jazz. And you get it, right? Like, I've talked many, many times on this channel about my friend who owns my favorite izakaya. And he said too, is like, our regulars come here, but there's no there's no new customers coming. We're operating like 30% kind of thing. And so I get why they want to get people to spend more money and to sort of help prop these places up. But it's like, especially if you look at the numbers in Tokyo, right? It's crazy. It's crazy. And of course, as a bit of a disclaimer, it's not as though Tokyo is in the same situation, or Japan is anywhere near in the situation like the States is, but it could very quickly become that kind of thing with these sort of overly hopeful policies, right? And the trouble is that, for example, in Fukui, we just recently had a man come back from Tokyo on a business trip, and then I think two of his family daughters, including his maybe his daughter, his granddaughter, who's under the age of 3, contracted coronavirus. And so in the past 2.5 months, we've had 3 people infected with corona here. And this sort of like illustrates the point, right? Is that it's fine if you want to help prop up these economies. But the trouble is that once people start leaving a hotbed like Tokyo, then it's just going to start going back to all these other places, right? And so, like, cool, if you feel like, okay, well, we want metropolitan people particularly. Well, they haven't said that. That's a jump. I'm sorry. But we want people to travel and we'll pay you to travel, that kind of thing. Can you imagine, like, if there are people who are like asymptomatic, for example, who travel out of Tokyo, right? Who are like, yeah, let's use this cash and let's go someplace. Then suddenly you have a place like Fukui, which has not had trouble with corona, severe trouble with corona in months. And suddenly we have trouble again. You have trouble again where, okay, now our economy here is going to be directly negatively impacted by some effort that probably at the beginning was well-meaning, to sort of help, boost the national economy kind of thing via boosting local economies. And the trouble is that even though Tokyo had declared, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, that now they're on the level 4 alert, right, which is the highest they can be for coronavirus cases and the problem and all that kind of jazz. Is that even despite that, there has been no sort of like, nobody's like, okay, no, maybe we should put off this go-to campaign thing, this go-to travel campaign thing until the numbers at least start to begin to go down, start to go down, It's like, no, it's too late to stop it now. Huh? Right? It's so stupid. So how many people are going to get sick and die because people don't want to lose face and sort of back off on this plan and that kind of thing, And it's easy to say something like, well, it's all in service of the mighty dollar, right? But I had talked before how I haven't been really negatively impacted economically by the situation, but let me tell you, things are changing now. Despite how insulated Fukui has been. And so, I do worry that this effort to sort of boost the economy is ultimately just going to have the opposite effect, which is what's going to happen and is already happening in the States, right? Is that this force to open things is just making things much, much worse. So anyway, I don't know what the solution is. I don't have a solution. I'm not a sociologist, I'm not a scientist, I'm none of that, but... Ohayou gozaimasu. Sumimasen. I'm not any of that. And so, I don't have any solutions, but it just seems like the ones that are being proposed are just nonsensical. So anyway, once we get to the bottom of this hill, I guess we'll end this video. I said this would be a shorter one, but we're already at 25 minutes, so I talk too much, truly. Anyhow, let's lay some pretty views here. But I suppose as we're sort of winding down, we're walking down and winding down, how are things going in where you guys are? I hope truly that you're in one of the places that is being more commonsensical. I hope if you're living in the States, you're one of the people who understands that an inconvenience does not equal tyranny. And I hope you're putting on a mask. And if you're not putting on a mask, put on a fucking mask. Like, for God's sakes, like, my mother works in a freaking hospital, and it's because people don't put on masks that she has to keep going, to her job every night, and I have to keep worrying whether she's going to come home with an already compromised immune system, having caught this virus because people are too fucking selfish to put on a mask. So, but sorry. sorry. But yeah, if you're in Japan, what do you think about this go to travel campaign? What do you think about sort of the response in general? And what do you think would be a better solution to sort of keeping people afloat, keeping money in people's pockets, and keeping people spending money until, well, this is not going to be over in any sort of like truly 100% over, completely final sense, but until we have a vaccine, or we have some sort of return to normalcy is the better way to put it. Please tell me about it down in the comments below. If you guys are interested, please follow me on Twitter at C Hayward Jr. You can follow me on Instagram using the same account name. And you can also, if you're interested, check out my Patreon, where you can get videos like these early. And let's finish up our cuppa. And with these wonderful views, I shall see you all very soon indeed.